In the last video, we talked about step 1 and step 2, and actually we also have included already step 3 in our hypothesis test using the one sample t-test. So now we shall now go to our step 4. As we know, step 4 is already concluding and interpreting the results. So now, here, as we can see on our table, we have the different values that we would need. Now, in the previous test that we did, we were not removing this column. Actually, we can remove that column. So let's do that. I will just delete that column so that we will focus on that one variable only. Oops, maybe we can just shorten that one there. And we can also change this to just one sample. So I will just simply write one sample because we will still use that test in later lessons. Alright, so let's look at the values that we were able to get. So our mean is 8.6, our variance is 3.67, and so on. So our hypothesized mean difference based on our problem is 7. The mean that we got is 8.6. So we will now determine whether the difference between the two is insignificant. So now, let's look at how we will conclude this problem. If you would remember, we need to look at the p-values. And as you can see here, we still have two p-values. We have the p-value for one tail here and the p-value for two tail here. So which of the two are we going to use? We have to go back to our alternative hypothesis. We have identified before that our alternative hypothesis is one tail, lower tail. Lower tail. Therefore, the one tail is the one that we will use, the p of one tail, which is this one. And here is our value. So we have our p-value of 0.09 that is rounded off to 2 decimal places here. And what is it compared to our level of significance 0.10? Alpha, which is 0.10. As we can see, this 0.09 is actually smaller than our alpha of 0.10. So therefore, we will reject our HO. So now we can now state our conclusion. There is sufficient evidence to reject our HO. Therefore, is there sufficient evidence to disprove the initial claim of the company? This is our complete answer, and the simple answer is yes, there is sufficient evidence which is already here. So that is how we do hypothesis testing using one sample t-test.